Like when a Jet player leaves, I want him to fail. When Sean Ellis, I loved Sean Ellis. When he went to the Patriots, I hated his face. Darrelle Revis, I hated him. And I wanted, when we traded Darrelle Revis to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off that knee surgery, we played them game one that year, the following year. I think we should have thrown at Revis every single play. It should have opened with it, and we should have tested that knee right off the gate. And he would have been unable to handle it because, as we know now, with hindsight, he was not 100%. He was on the field. We could have exploited him and made that trade look even better. That's how I roll. And when you have a 3-4 defense and you're drafting defensive tackles, all you're doing is you're drafting space eaters. So a guy like Quinnen Williams in a 3-4, it's like it makes it easy for him to be neutralized, and then his job just becomes eating space, which he does well, but he's just eating space when his real skill set is he's a slippery goon. He slides right, super strong, super fast, and he can get past the guy if there's more to concentrate on for the offensive line, right? And it's not cool to put those kinds of resources when guys like Fadukasi in the 6th and Kyle Phillips as an undrafted free agent can do a very, very good job. You don't need to use your 3 overall pick on a defensive tackle in a 3-4. What's happening, guys? Sorry about the late start here. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy I'm here. Almost for a minute there, I didn't know if I was going to make it. So I'm here. I'm happy about it, and I'm looking forward to getting into whatever we think is appropriate to discuss tonight. Maybe we discuss, the current state of the lemurs in Madagascar. I don't know. Now, who knows what we'll get into here. I'm happy to see you, like I said. So Gary's here. What's up, man? Hey, Amarillo. How you doing, buddy? Jets Mess. New York Sports MC. What's up, buddy? Anders Courtson. Yeah, man. Braden Bethwaite. Stephen Engel. Mikey Miles. Yeah. CC Ryder. Yeah, man. It's good to see you guys. It really is. Jack the Man. Brian Craig. Rusty Spooner's back. That's good news. Markopolos. What's up, buddy? Eagle Fang. It's funny, so many of you guys, between these live streams and stuff, we end up talking, during the week in one place or another. And it's funny. It's just like kind of continues. For me, it is. It's like, we'll finish this. Then I go to bed or whatever I do. And I wake up the next day and a few of you reach out on Instagram or YouTube. And then I answer that. And it's like, it's funny. It's just like this continual conversation we're having, which is really neat to me, man. It is. It's like, this is a whole new realm for me. So, yeah, Stephen Engel, I said hello. Well, who else we got? Ant Jet, what's up, buddy? And I don't know. I think that's Friggle here. Derek's here. It's good to have you guys, man. Jerome Strax, Grant Rude, Kevin Sains. Some new guys came in. KSE. I figured out how to say your name, man. Instead of calling you KSEF with no F. Kyle Ornsby, good to see you, buddy. Jerome Strax, I'm all right. How you doing, man? So obviously we have some stuff to talk about today. What did you guys think of the press conference? What'd you guys think? Let's take a little look. See, huh? What do you think? Let's see what happens here. Give me 30 seconds just to figure this all out. I got to do one other thing. And then maybe in the comments, man, tell me what you guys thought. Tell me first idea, like your first impression. What was the most important thing that you noticed in today's press conference? Let me know what that is. And we'll see you know what I mean? We'll get into it that way. What do you guys think while I set this up over here? Let me see. Okay. And I'm sorry. I'll see. Let me know if the light's bothering you guys too much in my glasses. I can't fucking see today. I'm getting old, friends. That shit is no joke. I tell you, what are you gonna do? So let's see what we got here. No one looked or sounded foolish. Holy shit, Garcus. Where is it? Garcus Bloodlust. Dude, anything I had on deck to say to you guys pales in comparison to that statement right there, man. No one looked or sounded foolish. Think about it. The Adam Gase press conference. Think of Idzik, if you guys remember that, literally talking in circles to the point where he didn't even know what he was talking about. Rex Ryan, God bless him, as much as I loved him, coming out dressed with a wig and the pillow in his shirt and kissing rings and just all the stuff that we deal with. Mike McCagden quite literally boring you to death with the same sentences over and over. So Garcus, I think that's the best thing you could have said. So a million ways to skin a cat, right, Brandon? That's another good one, man. I heard that. I actually said that a couple times this very week. I don't know where I got it from. It definitely kind of swooped into my current vernacular. I don't know why. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's having an effect on me. So Eagle Fang, what are you saying? Dunkin' is a new sponsor. Do I have Dunkin' Donuts going on? I don't know. You think this is Dunkin'? No, that's Borgen and Burke's. Anybody know what that is? If you know what that is, just give me a big fucking finger emoji, and then I'll know you know. Why is Christopher Johnson there? Frank Markopoulos. Yeah, well, he's there to let you know that he's there. That's about it. You know what I mean? The good news is that he's not like they've given it over, which is just the best. Think about it. When you see Chris Johnson and even Woody Johnson to that effect, the truth is that they're good owners for what we need them to be. They're actually good owners because they'll spend any money on anything. The problem is the people that we've had making football decisions were so inept that they were involved. It was just so now that we have a real guy in charge, the way that they're willing to open up their checkbook and write $17 million for CJ Mosley or $14 million for Le'Veon Bell and on and on and on and on. They would have paid Jamal. They would have made Jamal the highest paid player if McCagnon or Joe Douglas said, hey, listen, we got to keep this guy. We got to make him the highest paid defensive player. They would have did it, So anyway, they're just saying, hey, we're still here. We're still the owners. We're going to take our photo op. And that's it. But that's a good point. This is the wrong press conference, is it? No, this is today's. This is today's, isn't it? Let's see. Well, I'll start that in a little bit anyway. We'll take little clips and shit. Mikey Mouse says he doesn't get notifications, but it's set to all notifications. Something is weird. You had that issue before, if I remember correctly, right? You were telling me about that. I don't know what it is, man. I'll Google it, though, for you. I'll ask the Goog, Let's see. Anders wants players that like to play football. Wasn't that a simplification? That was a beautiful simplification. It's like, well, what kind of character people and all that? And they start trying to get him to talk about, they're always setting traps, They want him to talk about one kind of player so they could say that he doesn't want a certain kind of player. And all he said was, look, man, when you boil it down, we want people that love to play football. If they love to play football, we'll get them there. You know what I mean? And I think that's great. Goncalo says, I think we are blessed Gase is gone. And I could not agree more. Oh, email just says, it was fine. Nice. Well done, email. Well done. JD, still a good poker player. So, and speaking of that, did you guys see, and let me see if anybody else put it in the comments. when they at the end they try for I couldn't hear who the person was. If you guys know, toward the end of the press conference, somebody tried to get him to he was talking about the vetting process and the background process, and they actually said, do you speak to women at all? And it's like, all right, I'll put up I see what you guys are saying. Did you see? I'll find today's. What's today? Wait. Did you see that though? Do you speak to women in your vetting process? Like, what the fuck kind of question is that? Basically they're talking about the Deshaun Watson stuff, but it's like, this is the shit. This is what we're talking about here in New York. Like, this is the stuff that they pull out of their ass. Do you speak with women about people? No, we don't. It's like, what? He said, I'm not getting into any details with you about that. You know what I mean? I'm not getting into details with you about that. And it's interesting to me. I was like, wait, I think there was a lot of little minor traps, but in my opinion, that was probably the biggest one I saw. And it's interesting, man. When you really, like, why are they asking? The new head coach is there. You got the owner of the company there. You got Joe Douglas. He just, again, remember like my videos all last week. They have so much stuff that they've done. And he's asking them about talking to women who know a player. It's like, and maybe I misinterpreted that. That's possible too. But I was like, yeah, here we go. You know what I mean? Or fall asleep Bowles. Remember him? Isn't it funny, Eric, how this ever since really started like midway through last season, and then obviously the playoffs and the Super Bowl, everybody talking about how great of a head coach Bowles really was. You know what I mean? Isn't that funny? It's like, no, dude. I mean, look, when Bowles was our coach, here's what I'll ask you guys. Having Bill Belichick, right, and Tom Brady in our division and the whole Patriots dynasty, whenever we hired anybody, even whether it was a quarterback, a head coach, a general manager, my thought was, is this the guy that's going to overtake Bill Belichick and Tom Brady? And as much as I actually did like Todd Bowles, he wasn't my favorite candidate out there. I liked him better than Dan Quinn, but I liked him. But my first thought was like, this isn't the guy. This is not the guy that's going to overtake Bill Belichick. It's not the guy. That's what I thought. And then he went and hired Shane Gailey out of retirement, and I was confirmed. That first season was funny, though. No sign of Rich Kotite anywhere. Yeah, man. Yeah, Jeremy. Rich Kotite. I'll tell you what, compared to Adam Gase, and I mean this sincerely, not only because there's space between Kotite and us, but let me tell you something, man. I honestly can tell you that that Rich Kotite was a better coach, and that was actually a better era, even though we won less games than Adam Gase. So Mumtaz with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. I hope you know that. I really do appreciate it. Joe D said we are laying groundwork for a trade up. Yeah, you know what? I heard that. I didn't absorb it properly. I got to listen to that again. Bit worried we blow all our capital on one player. Who do you think it might be? I would think that just my initial thoughts upon hearing that is he's talking about packaging some later round picks to move up, say, for example, like a 5th and a 6th for a 4th, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To try to kind of get the tail end of the players that might be plug and play and that sort of thing, rather than once you get into the 5th, you're really, most of the time it's thinner water. It's more shallow. So, I think, I don't know. Look, there was talk on Jet Nation. If you guys know, I hang out on jetnation.com. And there was talk about the potential for, it was based on the Schrager mock that all of the top O linemen were gone before 23. The top guys like Tevin Jenkins, Sewell, Vera Tucker, Cosme, all those guys were gone. And it was like, so what do? Do you reach for that next tier? I think even Creed Humphrey was gone, but that might be incorrect. And it was like, so knowing that that's the case, would you then trade up like 5 or 6 spots, 3, 4, 5 spots to get Vera Tucker or whoever, one of those top tier guys that you want? And my first thought was like, I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to. Now, if we somehow could package a first and a second after taking Zach Wilson and get up to 6, you know what I mean? Which it's not happening, but like to 5 to get Pitts, because I think he's the best player in the draft minus Trevor Lawrence. That's something, but I wouldn't want to trade capital for Vera Tucker over, even Creed Humphrey, but like Eichenberg and some of those other guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that there's a batch of guys that are plug and play. So yeah, Mumtaz, I'm worried too about that. But I think my first thought is that it's probably looking at later round picks to get up to the to a little bit higher spot, like 3rd, 4th, that kind of thing. So anybody else nervous about that? Yeah, I got you guys. This is today. Thank you, Jason. I see it. I did that quick. So anyway, yeah, that's it. The good news is it's an easy fix. So once I'm set up and shit, yeah, I got you. Oh, you guys were yelling at me. I missed all that. Why am I going back so far? You guys were all yelling at me and shit, calling me stupid. All right. Yeah, Johnny Bravo. We want dudes who have drive for football. Dude, what a great thing, man. Like just now, and as we say that, like, it's like, can you tell, like, we've been talking about Joe Douglas being kind of cold as ice, right? Like, he doesn't feel the need to overspeak. He doesn't feel the need to tell you too much. He's unafraid to cut the answer off and just tell you the most minimal thing or say what you want to hear. Like, yes, I love Sam Darnold. Yep, Jamal's a stud. All those things. Like, he's never going to tell you what's really going on. And Robert Saleh, the more we hear from him, he seems to be cut from the same cloth. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a gaffe machine. He's not a guy you have to worry about saying stupid stuff. And that to me is so invaluable. Even like Chris Johnson, when he was stumbling and bumbling over his introduction, he's like, misinflecting and all those types of things with his own speech. I wonder if he read it before he actually got up there, because he didn't write it, So I don't know. It's just nice to have these two guys, to me, feel like they're really on the same page and that they're the same type of person. You know what I mean? So that was really good for me, man. Let's trade up for Pitts. Yeah, I don't know. That ain't. I mean, that's going to be an expensive one. To get up to the point where you're going to get Pitts, you'd probably have to trade to Atlanta. I honestly think that Miami, if they have their druthers, they would take Pitts over Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. That's what I think. But I think Atlanta's going to take Pitts. I think that unless they trade, but I think Atlanta's going to take Pitts. I think Cincinnati's going to take Sewell. And I think Miami will end up taking Jamar Chase. I heard some talk that they might take Devonta Smith. I would be blown away. You see, Devonta Smith actually came in 4 pounds lighter than we thought, which was it was 170. We all thought he was super light at 170, and his official weight heading into the draft is 166 pounds. And it's so crazy, man, because he was more than likely trying to gain weight. You know what I mean? To try to present better. And he's 166. The guy's probably playing in the mid 160s, dude. 160, 163, that kind of stuff. It's just scary. Obviously, crazy talented guy, but it's scary, man, with your number 1 pick. So, were you talking about the trade back, KSC? You can't assume that that day one starters will be available later. I can tell you right now, I can guarantee that day one starters will be there at 23. That much I can say. If you're talking about the later rounds, yeah. I think Joe Douglas. Here's my prediction, and I'm gonna make a video a day here on out. Okay, talking about this shit, whether Jet Nation or my channel. But I'm gonna predict right now that Joe Douglas is gonna do a couple things. Number one, I know he's gonna trade, as do you. That's not groundbreaking, but I think he's gonna trade twice. Okay, I think we're gonna see 2 trades, and the other thing, I think that he's going to find an absolute steal in the 5th or 6th. He's going to play it right and get another steal, like an obvious steal, like Bryce Hall was last year. Like, believe me when I tell you, even though teams were passing on him, I bet everybody was hoping they could get him right around there. You know, like anybody, he was the best player left in the draft, in my opinion. So I think we're going to do something similar. And my third guarantee is that we're going to use either our 2nd, 5th, or our 1st, 6th on Evan McPherson, the kicker. I like Jose Borregales, and that would be my first take. But I don't know. McPherson, as I dig in a little bit, I think he just feels like a Jet to me. It's probably because he's going to fight and miss kicks. But Landon Dickerson. Yeah, I love Landon Dickerson. He actually, the truth is that I might even like his style of play a little bit more than Creed Humphrey. But I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't take him over Creed Humphrey because of the injuries. You know, it's one of those things, man. Like guys like Caleb Farley, guys like Landon Dickerson, I would be very surprised if they didn't slip way further than you think. Like, I could honestly see Caleb Farley getting taken in the late 2nd or 3rd. I doubt it. I think somebody will take him, but I really wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. We've seen it before. And Landon Dickerson was projected as like anywhere between the late 1st and 3rd. You know, like more likely, like realistically, a 2nd round pick. But I think we're going to see him slide quite a bit, like mid 3rd, end of 3rd, 4th. That's what I think. His injuries are scary. You know what I mean? You like that, Johnny Bravo, McPherson? Yeah, he's got the strongest leg of the bunch of the guys that are worth taking anyway. I like Riley Patterson. But I think, and I'm fairly confident Borregales is the most accurate of the bunch, but McPherson is the most interesting. Like I said, it just seems like a Joe Douglas guy to me. You know, and look, we're going off very little. We've only had Joe Douglas in our lives for a little while. And that first year, dude, don't forget that first year of Joe Douglas, it was like, we didn't know anything. He was digging Khalil out of retirement. He was making desperation trades with the Patriots for Demaryius Thomas and Hairston with the Colts. So it's tough, So we only just got to know this guy, really, So Rusty Spooner, thanks, buddy. It's good to see you here. This draft is thick at O-line. If you know what you're looking for, right? I think JD's trading 23 and the pick we get for 23. I think JD's trading 23 and the pick we get for 23. And Joe, we trust. Forgive me. I'm going to try that again. If you know what you're looking for, I think JD's trading 23 and the pick we get for 23. So we're going to trade 23, gain a pick for it, and then use that pick to trade again. Is that what you're saying? It would make a bunch of sense because that's exactly what he did with the Seattle pick last year. He traded with Seattle, gained 2/3. So we got the 2/3. And then he took one of those and traded it and made it into the 2/4 and a 6th. You know what I mean? So I think that's not a bad guess right there. Really. Jet Smith. O-line. Right on, buddy. So let me ask you guys, let's do this real quick, and then I'm going to go back to you and try to get to some of your comments. What is the number of O linemen that you need to see to feel that Joe Douglas adequately addressed the O line this offseason? Just give me a number. 1, 0, 10. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's your number to say if he does that number? Okay, we're good. Maybe he could have did a little more or whatever, but we're good at this number. Okay. 2, 2, 2. Steve and Eric. Gratitude, Steve. Yeah, Johnny Bravo. 2. Liam Riordan. That's I think, and Eric Craig are with me. I think 2 or 3. I'm leaning towards. I'd really like to see 3. 2 upper tier, and maybe a developmental tackle kind of a thing. Armand 4. Interesting, Armand. 2, 3. Right. Shawnee Darts. Mumtaz says 2. 2 high ones. Bill Neftelberg. Neftelberg. Yeah. Yep. See, that's the thing, right? It depends too, right? If it's like one guy with the top 3 picks and then we take one more with the 6th, I don't know. I don't know how happy I'll be about that. You know what I mean? It could show he's got a lot of faith in the Cam Clark and all that, but I don't know. I don't care. I want to see at least 2 and possibly 3. Jeremy Cravat says he wants picks 23 and 66 used on offensive line. That's a very nice mix. It is. I like that. Use 23, get the best offensive lineman on your board after the initial guys are going. Like, get one guy from the premium batch and then, feather it in with some defense or a tight end or a wide receiver, whatever it is. And then at 66, the beginning of the 3rd round, the second pick in the 3rd round, you get it again. So I like it. Let's see here. I'm going to take that video off. I want to show you one more thing here. Let's do this first. Hold on. Let me ask you guys, how's my internet tonight? I'm at Aunt Paulette, so I'm hoping it's good. I came all the way here because my internet is so bad where I am, dude. Thank goodness I'm this close. Jets by Jimmy, we're asking how many offensive linemen Joe Douglas needs to take for you to feel like he's adequately addressed the offensive line this offseason. That's what we're doing. So let's do this real quick. I want you guys to see here what we're looking like. Okay. Let me see. So let's do the Jets. Come on, internet. Did I submit it yet? Okay. All right. So I want you to take a look at how our picks break down, right? Excuse me. So look up top here. You see this? This is our picks, and this is our organic picks, right? These are the ones that we earned. Okay, so look, we have the 2nd overall pick. We have the 2nd pick in round 2, the 2nd pick in round 3, the 2nd pick in round 4, the 2nd pick in round 5, and round 6. Okay. Then we have the trades and such. So we have, I forget which trade this was. It'll actually tell me. Hold on a second. Round 5, our trade this is the Leonard Williams pick. This one right here in round 5, this one. So this is the Leonard Williams pick. 86 is the Seattle pick. This is the Seattle 3rd rounder for Jamal Adams. This is the Seattle 1st. And this one down here, this is the Sam Darnold 6th. So what that pick did, it's really late in the 6th round. A lot of people will tell you this is essentially a 7th. And I don't disagree, but I like to look at it a different way. And the way I like to look at it is this. This is incredibly positive. This solid green bar right here on the top, it's incredibly positive. Like at the beginning of every round, you get to pick. You're right there in the beginning, especially in round 2 and round 4, because those are the first picks of day 2 and day 3. So after the big first round is over, we pick 2 guys or we do whatever we do. Within the first 15 minutes of day 2, we're picking. So there's a lot of craziness. We have a lot of time to evaluate what's happened and who's where and all that. And we get to do that again on day 3. So these are incredibly valuable. The problem with that is, look at how much of the draft is off limits to you. You see this? Look at this. All of this. So we're front end. We're top heavy, as we like to say. So what these picks really do is they give you the benefit of having this, the second pick in every round, but in the middle of the round or somewhere else in the round, we get to take another guy. And it breaks it up. Like a lot of people like batches, right? Like, so you get 154 and 156. They like that. And I like any of it. But I think this is more potentially and arguably more beneficial, because look at the way that it breaks it up. So we have all these picks up here, and then a little bit later we get another one. So we get in round 3, we have pick 66 and then 86. And then from 86 to here, we don't pick, and then we pick here again. So it breaks it up nicely. So what the Sam Darnold pick with the Panthers did, I mean, it would be better to be up here, to be sure. Don't get me wrong. But it's nice because we didn't have a 7th round pick, and we had the 2nd pick in the 6th. So we had the entire 6th round and the entire 7th round without a pick. And this gives you, once you start seeing who's fallen away, and that last guy that's available, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy is slipping. You get that one more crack down here at 226 before you start calling free agents. So you get that. This is a really great, you call it a net. You know, it's like it's that last ability to scoop one out of the pool before the madness starts with free agency. And it's really valuable when it breaks down like this, guys. And I was really happy to see that that's where it was, because like I said, we're obviously going to take our main 6th round guy right here, but then you start seeing guys slips. And you're like, oh man, shit, man, we got to get back in the round. Can't believe this guy is still there. And you get that one more shot to take him. You see what I'm saying? Could you guys see that? I hope that was clear. See what I'm saying here? Okay. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully that helped a little bit. You know, it kind of like I'm a very visual guy. Like I'm all hypothetical all the time. And you know what I mean? Like the way I think is kind of philosophical. I don't like numbers and shit, but it's like sometimes when I can look at something, it helps me to understand exactly what we're looking at. Like here, and we got pick 66, 86, and 107. I'm like, okay, well, that's, it's 21 picks later. You know what I mean? When I look at it like this, it helps me to understand the value of positional placement. You know what I mean? All right, so MC, what's up, buddy? Green Bean, why are people forgetting Cam Clark? What are your thoughts? We get one starting interior offensive lineman and we could be set. I would say draft 2, but one later developmental. Well, I think a lot of people are definitely forgetting about Cam Clark. And I mean, that's not to our benefit or not, right? But I think a lot of people, they look at him as a bust. You know how quickly, especially us New York Jets fans, you know how quickly we jump right to bust. That guy fucking sucks. Like, that's how we are. I mean, you look, even a guy like Leo went to the Giants. He had a career high in sacks. Now, I still think the trade was good and all that, but you look at a guy, we were calling Leo a bust for 2-3 years already. You look at Demario Davis, they were calling him a jag for years. And he's an all-pro. You know what I mean? He's an all-pro on a perennial winner. And so many guys like that. James Farrier, jag. He went over to the Steelers. He led the league in tackles for 3 or 4 years, whatever that was. So I think Cam Clark is a really interesting one because I really liked him coming out. I really liked him. I liked his aggressiveness. I liked his athleticism. I think he has a mean streak. He's known to be kind of rougher, like he plays maybe a little touch past the whistle. And I like that stuff, but he's very efficient blocker as well. He's effective, and he played left tackle. So he's switching to guard, and he had that shoulder injury. And like, dude, we had a slapdick organization last year. So, which is another reason Joe Douglas gutted the whole fucking place. So the fact that he was injured, no preseason, no training camp, and was switching a position, Joe Douglas redshirted him. He said, dude, we're not going to use this guy. You know what I mean? And I think that he's going to fight for a starting job this year, MC. I do. Like, I really do. I think he's going to be in the conversation. If it's not this year that he gets a starting job, he's going to be fighting for it for the throughout his 4 years with us. And at bare minimum, he's going to be a very, very solid reserve because you know how injuries go. But yeah, but that said, I would still like to see, just like you said, MC, my optimal goal here is to take one, just like was said, take one at 23, take one at 66, and then take one with one of these. Let's see what we got here. One of these fifths, like maybe this fifth right here. So you got 60, you got 23, you got 66, and maybe right here, 146. You take, let's see, who do I like? I don't know. Maybe like an Alaric Jackson. I like that guy. I know he's super sloppy, but with his footwork. But dude, guys can work that out. He's got the other traits, and I really like him. There's a few guys that I like. Let me take a look. I'm just so burnt out. It's all at this point. It's starting to really smear together for me. I tend, once I see it, I'm like, oh yeah. But it just tends to. I feel like I can have a hard time. So let's see. Robert Hainsey is another one I like a whole bunch. Tommy Kramer. Those are the two Notre Dame guys. Notre Dame. Tommy Doyle's another one. Kendrick Green from Illinois. Carson Green from Texas A&M. Royce Newman's another one I happen to like a bunch. Let's see. Where is he? I don't know. There's some tackles I like to move over. Ron Hainsey is one of those types. Let's see. Yeah, I like Eichenberg. I like Raduns. Walker Little's one of my favorite guys in the draft. Not that I would take him early, but I like him to develop for a minute, and then he's going to be a starter. Brady Christensen from BYU, I like him. Trey Smith, I like a whole bunch. Adrian Ely, there's Alaric Jackson. Right. So there's a lot of guys, man. Landon Young, Cole Van Lanen's another one. I like these guys. So some of those guys. You know what I'm saying? With me? So yeah, I agree with you, buddy. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Cam Clark. And I hope the offensive linemen that we draft don't sleep on his ass because he's going to take their job. That's how that's going to go. Where did it go? Look at Chris Bucco. Let me guys tell you something about Chris Bucco. There he is. I saw something you did, Chris. Yes. Good night. So Chris Bucco, real quick. JD is getting an extra second somehow or 2 extra thirds. Yeah. But Chris, what's going to happen when we trade Marcus May to get it? How do you feel about that? I have a sneaking suspicion. What do you think, Chris? And then I'll tell a story about you. Chris Bucco is legit, guys. I don't know if you know him. This kid, right? Look at that smiling face on the screen. You see that? He's fucking fierce. So there was this 49ers. I saw this on Twitter today. Some of you guys probably saw it as well. Oh, look, I got to get this damn screen on. Look at all those damn pop-ups. Jesus. Oh, I can't handle it. So there was a 49ers podcast thing going on. And they were talking about the fact that Zach Wilson didn't follow the Jets, but he followed the Falcons and the Niners on Instagram or Twitter. They were saying that means that the Niners were already they got confirmation from the Jets that they're not going to take Zach Wilson. It's all smokescreen. They're going to take Justin Fields. They've already talked it out. The Niners are so confident that they're not going to take Zach Wilson. That's why they traded up, because they're all, chummy. And that because he didn't follow the Jets when he followed the Niners and the Falcons, that was the secret little message that he doesn't want to play for the Jets. He's not going to play for the Jets. The Jets don't want him. And we're going to end up taking Justin Fields. And I don't even know how you found this thing, Chris. I've never heard of these guys before. I don't know. Chris, you're way out there, man. You're swimming in the deep end, bud. But he's out there. And Chris all of a sudden comes up on the screen just like this. He's like, oh, yeah, did you know that Zach Wilson was already called out for following all kinds of Jets players? Plus, he already made an appointment with the car. What do you call it? I guess not the detailer, but like the car upgrader, right? That all the Jets players use. He's already talking with them. So there's a lot of other stuff going on that you're choosing not to talk to. And they went, what did they say, Chris? They literally go, yeah, but he didn't follow the Jets. Like, that's the only thing they had. Their entire argument was built on a button on Twitter. That was it. And it's just so funny. It's like they were just reaching for straws, so desperate because they want that guy. So, but Chris, thank you for fucking being out in the deep end, slamming Niners fans, dude. I don't even know what you were doing there, buddy. But that was great. So thanks, Chris. Yeah, and I agree. Joe Douglas is going to manufacture more picks. But here's the thing, and this goes back to what like Mumtaz was talking about. It's like we have 10 picks this year, and we have 11 next year. Now, that's a nice batch of picks, and you can do some things. But the going idea is that you can't really you can only bring in so many rookies and sign them and make the roster. It's like the Idzik 12. Like, there was no way that those 12 guys were going to make it. So why didn't he package some, trade up, and get some higher quality? So that's kind of the thought process, too. It's like, does Joe Douglas really want to manufacture more picks? Or does he want to use what he has to get more picks next year, or like 2023? I'm sorry, to get higher quality than the picks. Now, don't forget, we have 2 5ths and a 6th this year. That's 3. We have 6 more of those 2 rounds next year. I believe we have 4 6ths and 2 5ths next year. It might be flippity flop or something like that. But so he could start packaging some of those for next year and bringing it into the fray this year to get some goodies. You know what I mean? Speaking of Chris, looks like, where are you, buddy? Where'd it go? There it is. Thank you for sending in a super chat. I've been fighting with them for months, Green Bean. I thought they were taking a wide receiver or right tackle and keeping – they thought we were taking a wide receiver. I know there was a caller on Sirius XM radio today, Chris, on the Jim and Pat show, Moving the Change, which I love. If you guys don't listen to that, man, you really should. It's the best. Pat Kerwin, a former personnel guy for our very own New York Jets, is now the color for that show. But he knows so much. It's great. But a guy called in today and said that the Jets' smartest move would be to take Jamar Chase. And it's like, where do they find these guys? Right, Chris? Where do they find these guys? So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, like I said, very little that Joe Douglas chooses to do, and with those first picks, are going to get me upset. Like, I have that much confidence. And the thing is, I also know, just like they said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So I'm not going to be the one losing my mind if they take Justin Fields or if they trade back and take Trey Lance. Like, I'm not going to lose my mind over any of that stuff. I'm fine with all of it. I happen to like all the guys. Every now and then one will rise more. I'll like one more. But for me, I just look at a bunch of talented guys that I hope the Jets take the guy they like the best, right? So I'm not going to lose my mind. But what would make me upset is if they stay at 2 and take a non-quarterback. That's going to piss me off. Even if it's Kyle Pitts, I will be a little upset. You can't be upset for bringing in a player like Kyle Pitts. You can't. He's just so good, dude. He's better than any wide receiver in this draft, hands down, in my opinion. Plus, he's got so much more to his game. So you can't be mad about bringing in that level of talent, but you can be mad for where, how you used that resource of the number 2 pick. And that's my whole gig, man, squeezing the lemon. Knowing how to squeeze the lemon. So that's about it. But taking fucking Jamar Chase at 2 when we have the holes we have, dude, you're out of your goddamn mind. Right, Chris? I'm telling you. These guys are out of their minds. It's funny when if you guys ever have the opportunity to kind of lean out into the other worlds of football, fandom, like go over and listen to the Raiders. I used to do this all the time. Like with the team we were playing, I would go to their message boards and talk to those fans. And dude, it's hilarious. And some of the shit that people come up with to justify certain things is hilarious. I know they feel the same way about us, so that is what it is. But it's funny, man. And this is the kind of stuff. Chris caught him talking because Zach Wilson didn't follow the Jets on Twitter. It somehow means that the Niners know the Jets aren't taking them. They have a handshake. Wow. Just, hey, man, you throw whatever you want into the pot, right? Sometimes when you're starving and you got that pot over your cauldron, you got to take some grass and fucking leaves. You just throw it all in there, man. I'm making soup. I got to eat. And that's it. They got to eat. They're trying. They're trying to eat. They're grabbing dirt and throwing it in the pot. So I know, right, Grant? Grant Root nailed it. There's so much misinformation in here. It's unreal. You mean in here or out right now? Everywhere. It's everywhere, bro. And like the thing that I think is good, right, about our current situation, Grant, is that, and I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident that I'm not. We have someone right now who knows how to do that. Where Mike McCagnon had no idea how to do that. John Idzik had no idea how to do that. Mike Tannenbaum, Trader Mike, who did pull off some amazing trades, but usually they were good trades, but he would overpay. He didn't care about overpaying. That was Mike's thing. So like even him, he didn't know how to like keep secrets very well. They did a good job with the Revis thing. But with the Roscoe's Diner shit, they made it like it was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Way in the woods at the Roscoe Diner, a meeting was taking place to save the world. That kind of shit. Jordan Victor, you want Justin Fields, huh? I'm warming up to Wilson, but I still, I think I liked Fields more for a while, a little bit. I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm still upset that we won those 2 games. I am. Fucking pisses me off, Adam Gase. McVay or McShay. You know what I mean? What is that? McVay, right? I'm fried. Sean McVay. What was that? How does he lose that game? Playing for the division to us. Ugh. But anyway, Trevor Lawrence is out. So I go back and forth. And like I said before, I'm really comfortable in the place of like, I just trust. I trust these guys. I trust these fellas we have right now. Let me see something. Let's try to do this thing now. Share the screen with my good friends. La 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 la. All right, let's see. Is this the one? 422. Come on, internet. What's happening here? Ugh. Hold on. Let me get on my Jet Nation account that has hold on. Yeah, here it comes. So you hear that? I always find that the more they love the game, the harder they try for the game. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, what a refreshing take. It's like we're not overcomplicating this thing. We want guys in here who, and Joe Douglas said something too when he talks about their background check and their vetting process. They do a social media scrub. So, there's a couple reasons for that. One is you want to find out that, 3 years ago, there's not some fucking crazy post that says, I don't want to give, I have 10 examples in my head, but something that's really divisive or, something that's sexually explicit. But he's also talking about, like, who is this person on social? Like, they can present anything they want to me. They can present anything they want to their coach. But who are they? And when you look at Jamal Adams as an example, look at his social media thread and you know exactly who he is. He's a self-promoting showboat. He's that guy. Now it doesn't look to me like they have any interest in bringing guys like that into the house. It's quite the opposite, right? Remember, there was, how the New York Jets release like Instagram videos and shit? Like 3 years ago, when we just had Tremaine Johnson, like at the end of that first year, and they had Jamal Adams and Tremaine Johnson like doing some kind of contest. They were, with the ropes and lifting and everything. And Tremaine Johnson beat him. And it's like they were all just like yelling, like, oh, like all this shit. And it's funny. It's like, while I had no issue with that, being pumped for working out or anything like that, it was such a different scene in there because Jamal Adams was the leader. Tremaine Johnson was the high-priced free agent. He was the leader. So those were our leaders. You know what I mean? And now look what we're moving into. Guys like Mekhi Becton, and just for one example. But even like CJ Mosley, if he comes back. But, Marcus May. Marcus May's the anti-Jamal Adams. You know what I mean? So anyway, I really like that. You like that? I was scratching his head for you, KSC. I was doing that for you. Yeah. Yeah, dude. And that's the thing with Jamal Adams is he's crazy sensitive, man. He couldn't believe when he heard that Joe Douglas considered trading him, he fucking imploded. He never was right again. He could not believe it. And he was so crazy about that he did everything that he did. What does this mean, Shadow Maniac? I fucking stare at the chat. What are you talking about? I'm always reading the chat. I didn't do it when I was doing something. I'm always looking at your chat. I stare at your chat. So what are you guys saying? What was muted? I'm muted? Was it? No sound? God damn it. Are you kidding me? Let me see something here. Why don't you guys tell me? Is that what you're talking about, Shadow Maniac? You guys can't hear this? Can you not hear that? Get out of here. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to hear that. I hear it. Well, that sucked. No, you hear me, but you don't hear the thing. We did. You don't look at the chat. Yeah, I know. I was looking at I was not at that moment. I was. Come on. You guys know I fucking read the chat. But that's what's funny about it. Okay, but seriously, you guys, because I don't even know anymore if you guys are just razzing me as a unit. You only hear me. Okay, thank you, C. Wallen. See how easy that is, guys? Fucking fat Gandalf roughing me up. So anyway, so my whole comment was dumb. So I'm like, you see? And that's what I'm talking about. You guys are like, this guy's an idiot. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, there's nothing muted. I don't know why that is. No, goodbye to that. To that idea, I'll tell you that, man. Jesus, guys. Oh, my headphones, you think? Let me see. That's a good idea, Eric Craig. Hold on. That's going to be what it is. Eric Craig. Let's all clap for Eric Craig. Look at this guy right here. Unplug your headphones. I'm going to try it again. Now, you tell me if you can hear it, okay, my friends? Where's Shadow Maniac? Get back in here, you. You tell me if you can hear it.
They're talented. There's rookies that are going to be coming in that are talented, and the expectation is that they're one of 53 when it's all said and done, and they've all got to perform their best to create a great football team. And
can you hear it?
As far as pressure is concerned, there's no pressure on me. It's just there's always pressure. There's always pressure to put together the best football team you possibly can, regardless of who's playing. So I'm very comfortable with every decision that's made, and it's our job to get them to put them in the best position to be successful, and that not just the quarterback, but every single player that takes the field.
All right. All right.
Just curious.
Let's see.
It is very new for you right now, obviously. Could you characterize?
Number one, look at his face. Look how calm and cool this guy is. He's not looking up into outer space. His jaw isn't swinging. None of that. He's looking at this, listening to this question, and he's not in the slightest bit frazzled. There's no too big for him. You see it? Look at him.
What's your excitement level to have this number 2 pick? Obviously, you're a defensive guy, but to shape this offense with a new quarterback and shape it, Mike.
Well, that's what he says about Mike LaFleur here. If you missed it,
Mike's system and whatnot. And just what's your level of excitement for that?
This is cliche, and I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm excited for every single pick we have because I do believe that Joe and his staff have such a great beat on the players that are entering it that we're going to have some really cool players that come into this building, and so the level of excitement for every single player, even our players, to get on the grass with all of them, to kind of shape them all into our schemes and to see how they all fit and to see how they all work within it. It's an exciting time. So my excitement goes beyond just the number 2 pick. It goes to the 23rd, the 34th, 66, 86. It goes to all of them, and then including the players that are currently here and the opportunities that they're going to have. So not to bore you with cliche answers, but I'm excited for all of it.
Throughout your coaching career, whether with David Carr in Houston,
and you'll hear at some point that new Miami fan guy that the Daily News hired. I don't know what the hell's that. Still, I don't understand. Well, I do understand it because the Daily News was where Rich Cimini came from when he was even worse than he is now. And then they hired Manish Mehta, and you know what he was doing. And then right on the heels of Manish Mehta, they had that other guy fill in. What's his name? Sal or Joe or something like that. And he quit and said it was the worst environment that he ever worked in. Remember that? And he said that for like a year, he was the one doing all the work. So Manish Mehta could put his name on it and all that kind of stuff. And then now that they go and they hire a fucking diehard Miami fan, he's like an open, full-on diehard Dolphin fan. And that's the guy they get to cover the beat. So it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like their motives are so clear, man. Like they just want to stir us up. That's all they care about. They want clicks. They do not care about any other aspect of journalism or information. None. Ask questions that stir the pot. Get Jets fans riled up. That's good. That's the guy's whole job. It's the whole job. His first tweet was some bullshit inflammatory. I forget what it was, but it was like, oh my God, really? This is how you're coming out of the gate? What's Red Dog saying? I'm sure he'll miss Adam Gase and the cocaine cops. I know, right? I'll tell you. Yeah, thank you, Supersonic. I mean, look, I want to be very, very clear here, guys. You know, because I believe me when I tell you, I had all kinds come at me with that one. And I almost didn't do it. I almost, if anybody didn't see the video, we're referencing a video I made last week called Jets fan, a call to arms or whatever. Enough is enough, right? And I almost didn't do it. I actually recorded another one that was worse. I was on fire. And then I just waited. I slept on it. And I woke up and I recorded another one. So the thing with me, like, I'm not into cancel culture. I don't like we should all band together and cancel this person. All I'm really saying is this, and I hope that it comes across clear. All I'm really saying is it has been too long that these guys, they don't report, they don't give us news. So we should let them know that's not acceptable. We're done with that. So fucking unfollow them. They will know. If we all unfollow them, they will know. They will feel it. And they will say, wait a second, maybe what I'm doing isn't working. And they'll change. That's all I'm hoping for. If you start changing and give me good scoops and material, like Cimini and those guys, they're supposed to have inside access. They're supposed to give us a window into a world that we can't reach. That's their job. All they do is report whatever Schefter's saying, whatever Rappaport's saying, or Glazer. They say it was Adam Schefter just reported today that the Jets. That's what they do. And any scoops that they have never happened. It's like, did you see Cimini's last scoop this last week? And let me tell you something. He did it right on the heels of us saying that. So I'm telling you, well, I know at least a couple hundred people that unfollowed him, right? And that's probably not going to make the biggest dent in the world, but a lot of people were telling him and all kinds of shit. And he gives us a scoop that Robert Saleh might be interested in Richard Sherman. But there are obstacles that Richard Sherman doesn't want to play for a losing franchise when the end of his career, and he doesn't necessarily want to leave the West Coast. So what is that? We all knew. We've been talking about that for months. So yeah, I hope that's what it is. Like I said, I'm not rooting for anybody to lose their job. I'm never into anything like that. I'm just saying this is the guy who's supposed to give us something, and we're out there. We're looking for stuff. You know what I mean? We are consumers of this stuff as a collective, you and me, right? So it's like, if they're not doing that, if all they're doing is sticking fucking a stick in our ribs all day long, like, grab the stick and throw it, get out of here with that. So that's the way I see it. So, right, band together. That's it. Yeah, Schlereth, man, that guy. I wish I could get into a conversation. I wish he would be willing to come on with me. I wish. I think my first question would be like, how often do you sit in your own house wearing a fucking football helmet? Al Bundy. You know what I mean? Like that would probably be first. Yeah. So good, man. Thank you, Jay Wayne. And that's the thing. It's like my only goal is to get them to cut the shit because I love us. And I think that we deal with enough shit in the real part of this. Being a fan of this team, we don't need the added horse shit. And everybody sticks their fingers in our sauce, man. Everybody. If they want clicks or they want national attention, they talk about the Jets. That's what they do because they know we're not going to have it. You know? So, yeah, good, man. Thank you, Ephraim, a.k.a. Hoxha 34. That's right. Markopoulos, I swear to you, man, I feel the same way. Like when I go looking for Jets news, I go to a couple places. Number one, I love O'Leary. He's way up there for me, man. He's way up there. And I know he's not getting scoops. He's in the same place I am. We have people that we talk to and stuff, but we're not inside. But O'Leary has a great way. He's immediate and he's good at it, right? O'Leary's he's the most, what's the word I'm looking for? He's the most packaged. Like he's good. He has the soothing voice. He's got radio host all over him, right? So, but like he gives you the good stuff. And then you like Ryan, these guys, I love those guys. And then the other places, I love Jet Nation. I go there constantly for Jet news. Like anything that happens with the Jets is on there within minutes. It's all there. A story, the whole thing. And then I like Cool Your Jets for like some analysis, breakdown on players and stuff. And then but that's it. I don't Samini, he doesn't give me anything. The Daily News. When's the last time the Daily News fucking gave me anything? So it makes no sense to me. So, yeah. I saw an interview with him and he admitted they're not much about. Yeah, think about that. Jay Wayne. I think that was the interview on Cool Your Jets. Was it not? Maybe not. But they asked him some stuff and he said, I'm still learning about the Jets. He doesn't even know the beat. So why did he get the job? Like, I mean, maybe they really like his writing or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they know it. We know exactly why they hired him. He doesn't know shit about the Jets. He's a Miami fan. He knows how to bust our balls, and that's what they want. Right. You know? Right, Chris. Yeah, that thing with Shap and Samini last week that I posted on Instagram, it was just like, I couldn't believe, like, they were talking about Vernon Golston. That's their topic. Like, they were like, and, Rich Samini, Vernon Golston coming out of Ohio State, supposed to be a great pass rusher, and you and I have as many NFL sacks as he has. Yeah, what is that? Do you know that in that same draft, we had 2 firsts. The other one was Dustin Keller, who was a fucking fantastic player. Why not that? You know what I mean? So, Matt Ryan. That's funny. Jets. Matt Ryan. That worked out, right? Yeah, Sabo. Robbie Sabo. Let me tell you something. Even before, when he was just, I think it was some FSNY or something like that. I forget what he was called. But Sabo's legit. He knows what he's talking about. And before he was Jet X, like he had another thing that he was doing. And I used to watch his breakdowns all the time. I loved them. Another one is Emery Hunt, but he's not Jets only. But yeah, man, I don't need those guys anymore. We got us. All their news is coming from Schefter or Rappaport anyway, dude. That's where the news comes from. And then you got Tony Pauline. I don't know if you saw my podcast. I could not remember his name for the friggin' life of me. That guy gets actual scoops. And every time he says some stuff, everybody always thinks this is the biggest crock of shit. But he's on to something. You know what I mean? So that's he should, he should be considered in a different category. And he breaks stuff and he gets real scoops. And so Tony Pauline's, I don't have any problem with him. I don't like the shit he says all the time, but that's not what I'm talking about. I don't have to like anything. That's not it. But if it's actual fact, then tell it. You know what I mean? That's all. What's Mr. Terrible saying? Where is he? Mr. Terrible, what's up, buddy? Vernon Golson should be brought up to remind us how boom or bust edge rushers are. I want ETN at 23. Why? Because there's no bust running backs? That's a interesting point, my good friend. But look, it's like I said before too. We can talk about anything. I mean, there's nothing off limits. Like, don't you bring up Vernon Golson. That's not the point. The whole point was they didn't have a point. They were just saying their point was the Jets suck. So if they're talking about leading up to, like, look at everything Joe Douglas has done in less than a year. He acquired an entire additional draft class of draft capital. 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth in 1 year. That's what he did by trading 3 guys, essentially. Don't forget, he added fifths and sixths and all that shit, too, with Avery Williamson and Steve McClendon and Jared whatever his name is, Jordan Willis, right? So he did all that, too. But it's like, if you were talking about, hey, he has all these picks and you got to be reminded like Vernon Golston or Dwayne Robertson, and because this is this and these guys remind me of that, and he like talking about something, then yeah. But they weren't doing that. They were just having a blast talking about fucking Vernon Golston. 2003 or 2006, 7, 9. I don't know what it was. Something like that. 2007, 6, 2007. 2008. I got to get it right now. I said everything. Kyle Wilson, Scott Sanchez. Remember that? That was the Rex Ryan the first draft pick of Rex Ryan. Kyle Wilson. Anybody remember why he sucked? Oh, yeah, go Hangard, man. We have plenty of examples. Thing is, Kyle Brady was actually a good player, too. He was never as great as they hoped he'd be, but he was a good player for his whole career. He was very good. He was like a slightly above average tight end. He was good at blocking, too. But, but there's no point to anything. Like, that's, Kyle Brady. And what made Kyle Brady worse was the fact that Warren Sapp was the pick. We needed a defensive lineman so bad. And we already had at that time Johnny Mitchell on the roster, and we didn't know he was going to completely melt down yet. Like, tight end was just not a need for us. And we needed, and Warren Sapp was like, just everybody knew this guy has Hall of Fame written all over him. He's that good, So that's why. Oh, yeah, Paul, that's interesting. He's a football coach for your local high school, Port Jervis Red Raiders. That's awesome. Yeah, I knew he coached. I didn't know. So that's your town. How cool. So, yeah, Bart Scott is good. But, Bart Scott, I love Bart Scott. Like, that's, but to me, he's just kind of like entertaining. He says some shit, though, that you wish other people would say. So that I thank him for that. I like that. He's like, man, what are you guys talking about? This is bullshit, Hey, Green Bean, Supersonic Bionic. Hey, Green Bean, where were you in 86 when the Jets beat Miami 51-45 when O'Brien hit Wesley Walker for a touchdown? 5 touchdowns, wasn't it? Or 4? In overtime, though, right? Seeing that game as a kid made me a Jets fan for life. 1986, I was 14 years. No, wait, right? Yeah, I was 14 years old, and I watched that game in my living room. I actually missed the first quarter, and I watched the rest of that game in my living room and I lost my mind. Now, I was already a Jets fan, right? Like I came in 1982, the last, in the Mud Bowl. That was like really my first game, man. I went to a preseason game once and I did, but I was kind of just like bebopping around. I used to like Earl Campbell, and I liked the Houston Oilers song when I was a kid. Houston Oilers. I liked that. So I was a little kid. I had an Earl Campbell football, like an NFL football with his signature on it. And I loved him. So I was kind of teetering on being a Houston Oilers fan, but I started getting into the Jets, and I wasn't diehard yet for like a year or two. So that was like the year, Supersonic, that I was becoming a diehard. Well, the year that it happened for me was when we drafted Ken O'Brien and he started playing. Like, I don't know, it was fresh to me. Like, oh, we have a new young guy. Like, it just, especially after Richard Todd fucking ruining throwing 4 picks in the Mud Bowl and everything. So that game was a big one for me too. It was big. We beat them 51-45. It was an aerial assault between Ken O'Brien and Dan Marino. Everybody said we shouldn't have passed on Marino. And for that day, that whole year, really, I think O'Brien went to the Pro Bowl that year, and he was considered like he was a better quarterback that year. And so it looked like, hey, man, we got the right guy. You know what I mean? That was big stuff. That was big stuff, man. So, yeah, it had the same effect on me as it did on you, bud. Let me tell you. We had Freeman. I think we had Johnny Hector, too. That might have been right in the Johnny Hector. Let me see something. Wait. Hold on. Hector. Let me see when he was drafted. Yeah, 83, right. So Johnny Hector was 83, so he was the same draft as O'Brien. So we already had Freeman, McNeil, and then they bring in Ken O'Brien and Johnny Hector, and it was just like a nice influx of younger talent. And later, Joe Pekulik, have a good night, buddy. Yeah, Houston Oilers #1. You know what's funny, Fat Gandalf? That's the same song as Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins. You ever hear that? Like when I used to live in Miami, right? So I would go to the Jets game every year in Miami. And I just used to laugh because as a little kid, I was such a Oilers homer because of that song. I was like, I was 7, 8. I had my Earl Campbell football, and I liked the song. That was it. So, but it's funny. Every time I hear that song, I think of that little kid who liked the Houston Oilers. It's the same song. It's the exact same song. So anyway, I laugh at it. AJ Dewey, Red Dog, you know, buddy. See you later, goddamn Jets. Oh, you're here? I didn't even know you guys were here. Wait, don't leave. Guys, next week, our Monday night mock, we have the whole goddamn Jets show as our final special guests. If you guys aren't familiar with them, they're really a good time, man. There's 3 of them. They're all over the place. Like, I think they're in California and one's in New York. But there are 3 hosts. At least one's a stand-up comedian. The other, the woman, Kimberly, was a flight crew member. So she was one of our cheerleaders, for a while. So they're a blast, man. So we're going to have all 3 of them on for the last final Monday night mock. It's going to be a blast. Thanks for being here, man. I didn't see you. If you're still here, let me know just so I can say good night to you. Good night. I say good night sexy if you want. Nobody wants. Forget it. Be that goodbye. Okay. Dan Marino. Imagine Dan Marino throwing to Al Toon. Yeah, I have. Oh, it's not you. It's not goddamn Jet. Okay, so a different show. Well, I'm having the goddamn Jet show on next week nonetheless. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the clarification. But you have a good night, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We had a good time. Sorry I had to start late, like I said. That's why I'm hanging out a little later than usual. So, Jay Wayne, have a good night, bud. So, listen, your mom is the reason I'm a Jets fan. Yeah, Wilson, that's fun. Yeah, my Aunt Gina. She doesn't come into these so much anymore. The first year I was doing this stuff, She was in every single stream. So supportive. So supportive. But she's the one who got me in. She was my youngest aunt. Sorry. She was my youngest aunt. So she was like the cool one, you know, because she was young and hip. She was only like, I don't know, 8 years older than me. So when she liked the Jets, she was so passionate. She liked the Beatles and she liked rock and roll and she liked, you know, the Jets. She was just cool. So she would like take me on little car rides and we listened to music and shit. And I thought she was the best. So when she liked the Jets, that didn't hurt because my whole family's Giants fans, everybody except her. And now her kids, we got a few more around now, but back when I was a kid, it was her. She was the Jets fan and everybody was a Giants fan. Everybody. No sound? You're not hearing me, Craig? Joel Walton picking his nose. That's so funny, dude, that you're saying that. Supersonic. Picking his nose on the sidelines. Hey, man, it's not as bad as Mark Sanchez picking his nose and wiping it on Brunell. What was that? You know? What was that, dude? Yeah, Scott, I'll have this sand. I'm done with the Cyclone thing. I'm just confirming a few more things. I'm going to have it by the end of the week. I'll make a big announcement. I'll have it by tomorrow. Dude, can you look at all the shit, right? Look at all the stuff. Even when we were that good, which make no mistake, man, when in 2009 and 2010, we were badass. We were badass, man. That defense was fierce. Those wide receivers were no joke. Our tight end, the offensive line, the rushing attack, the attitude. It was like we were not to be messed with, man. And then like getting LaDainian Tomlinson, it was just crazy town. And we fucked it up. You know why? You know what really happened? I know you guys know this just as well as I do, but I'm going to tell you from my heart what really happened. Rex Ryan's Super Bowl was that Patriots game. Rex Ryan beat Bill Belichick in his house after, remember, they beat us like 45-3 or whatever it was. The last game that we played them, we went into their house and he had to win. He had to. And he got the team so pumped up for it that we beat them in their house. Right after beating Peyton Manning in his house, that was his last game as an Indianapolis Colt. We beat Peyton Manning his last game as a Colt in his house, then went to face Tom Brady and beat him in his house. And Rex had nothing left to give to the team to make Pittsburgh that big of a deal. Like that was his Super Bowl. And it's sucks. And then, like, look, we had a great comeback in that game. Brian Schottenheimer made some stupid shit decisions, but we had them. We had them on their heels, man. But we couldn't do it because we didn't have anything left. And that's what sucks. And that's the difference between, like, as much as I like Rex Ryan, I was a huge Rex Ryan fan. You know, but it's like there's a difference between Rex Ryan. Like when you look at the Ravens, and don't forget, this is where Joe Douglas comes from. Ozzie Newsome had a choice. He had Rex Ryan. Clearly, the players loved him. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. He's a good football coach. He is. He has a very strong pedigree. His father was one of he changed the game. You know, whether you like him or not, his father was a great coach in his own right. You know, so he had all those things. But when Billick was fired, he had a choice, Ozzie Newsome. He said, I can hire Rex. Everybody would cheer me. Everybody loves Rex Ryan. And he knows what he's doing. But he's not a champion. He's not a coach. He's not that guy. He's not going to be able to do it. He's too emotional. He's too this, that. And he went and he fucking hired John Harbaugh, a special teams coach under Andy Reid, I think it was. And everybody's like, what is this guy doing? But it's Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome, in my opinion, is the greatest general manager ever. He only got 2 Super Bowls, but I mean, dude, dominant teams. And they're just under a dynasty too. They were just always good for 20 fucking years. You know? So, like, you think about that. Like, there's a difference between Rex Ryan and Mike Tomlin. It just is. You know? And there's a difference between, like, the Adam Gases of the world, the Joe Waltons of the world. Like, these guys, they clearly know the game of football. I don't know if Gase does. Clearly he does because Peyton Manning loves him. So he's got to know stuff. Came under Saban and Mike Martz and but it's like he's not a leader. He's just not supposed to do that. He's the guy who should be like an assistant, like just helping you design plays and shit. That's what he should be doing. And like when you look at Rex Ryan, like he's just this emotional guy. Everybody loves it, but he doesn't know how to get past when he burns off the emotion. He doesn't know how to keep going. And that's what happened. And it's fucking sad, man, because and then what they did in 2011 was it was an atrocity, what they did to our team in 2011. You know? What's this? That's why you need a kicker, right, Cravat? 5th round, second, 5th round pick. You'll see. We're getting a kicker. I'm telling you. Or the first 6th. It's going to be McPherson. I'm confident. Let's see. What's C. Wallen saying here? Why doesn't JD get more credit for picking up picks for next year in the Darnold trade? Everyone says this year is a crapshoot. Well, I don't know. I don't think he's getting too much credit for anything. I really don't. That was part of why I was so bothered. It's like, why are we talking about fucking Vernon Gholston? Why are we talking about this when, like, we have really groundbreaking stuff going? Joe Douglas in the past year has changed the hierarchical structure, the reporting structure of the New York Jets that's been going on for over a decade. He changed it. He completely gutted and revamped our entire medical, nutrition, and rehabilitation programs and training. Revamped it, man. It doesn't look anything like it did a year ago. Nothing. We have 4 new doctors and training staff. He did that. Plus, he traded 3 guys within a year Leonard Williams was a little bit earlier, but generally speaking. So he traded 3 guys and created 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th. In addition to the 9 5ths and 6ths he has over the next 2 years. 9, dude. And we don't talk about it. All they talk about is Joe Douglas has to hit on his picks. Or else he traded Jamal Adams and Sam Darnold if he doesn't hit on his picks. It's like, I mean, obvious. Everybody has to fucking hit on their picks. Like I said, if you see a Supersonic, can you imagine if Joe Douglas's pick last year was Isaiah Wilson in the 1st round, that right tackle from Georgia? He uses his 1st round pick on a right tackle. 1 year later, not even after 1 season, has to trade him for a 7th, not even a 7th. They just flipped 7ths. And the guy's out of the league less than a year later. Could you imagine the firestorm that would be here? It would be unbelievable. Instead of that, instead of not being able to get anything for Mitch Trubisky, not even a fucking 7th, he got a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th for the 32nd ranked quarterback in the NFL. Nobody cares. They just talk about he could have got the 12th overall pick. You know what I mean? So I think it's just showing us he's going to have to earn this one, man. You know what I mean? He's going to have to. It's like he's not going to win any of them over with any. It's just we just gotta fucking win. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, what's this? Who is your favorite New York sports radio host, current or retired? Jets sports radio? I don't know. I don't really listen to much of that. I used to like years ago. I used to listen to some Mike and the Mad Dog, but I don't know. Like I guess Iron Eagle. I don't know, man. I don't really listen to that stuff. I mean, and it's not like I don't listen to it. I have never really grabbed hold of that. I listen to some sports radio. And I listened to like, I don't know, who was it? Boomer, I think, had a morning show or something. I don't know. I listened to a little bit of that. But my thing was like reading the papers. You know what I mean? I was in New Jersey, so I would get the Star Ledger, the Daily News, but I would always get the Post and the Daily News. I meant the Daily Record. So I would do the Record and the Star Ledger. Then I would get the New York Post, the Daily News, and I would always look in New York Times, see if they had anything. And then I would get New York Newsday. Like that was kind of my thing, Craig. I used to just like sitting down, reading the papers, But I can't think of any real New York sports hosts that I ever like I said, I liked Mike and the Mad Dog for a while when it was them. Once Francesa was on his own, I can't even listen to that guy. And I never really dug, what's his name? The guy, he just retired. What the fuck's his name again? I tried to, but I don't know. I think he's too negative for me. He's just like always, he like loses his mind too fast for me. I know, right, Liam? Iron Eagle. Jesus. He does our games and shit, But I like some guys now. Like I listen to Sirius XM NFL radio often. I love the Jim and Pat show. Moving the chains. Love it. That's it, Eric. They're gonna doubt us until we hold the trophy. It's just that simple. Let's see, Mr. Terrible. I am a little concerned about Douglas. Eagles roster and drafts have been very meh the last 5 years. Very milquetoast. Yeah. But don't forget, he wasn't the GM. He has his part in it. He has his part in it, and we don't know. I've heard people say Joe Douglas really was the decision maker. I've heard people say that Joe Douglas didn't really have much as far as the actual picks were concerned at all. So me personally, I don't know what's accurate. I'm sure he had a lot to do with it. But what I can tell you is this: the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl before. And when Joe Douglas was over there, they won one. So there's that. And he's looking like with their big thing with the Eagles, two things that stood out to me was their defensive line rotation, particularly the defensive ends. I always believed in that, man. I played defensive end, so I'm a little bit partial to that. I love a good defensive end, right? I love a good 4-down lineman, fucking natural pass rush. Like we are better than you, batch of guys. Like we are better than you. We don't need crazy blitzes. We are going to beat our 4 guys are going to beat your 5 guys. That's the way it's going to go. And I like that. So the Eagles did a lot of that. Now, it's not to say blitzes aren't great. And, a nice, well-timed and well-constructed blitz isn't fantastic. I love it. But it's like the Eagles had a very serious and effective defensive line rotation. They had the ability to rotate their guys without losing any, without any drop-off, without losing effectiveness. So guys were always fresh. And the other thing they did is they focused on safeties. They put a premium on safeties a little bit more than they did their cornerbacks. So they would have 3 safeties out there and some stuff like that, which I really liked. So Joe Douglas was a part of that. And if you look at what he's doing right now, Mr. Terrible, it looks a little bit like that to me. You know what I mean? And the Eagles had a dominant offensive line led by Jason Peters, who's just he was so good, dude. Undrafted free agent, dude. You know? So for me, like with Joe Douglas, like, look, we have Quinnen Williams, we have Foley Fadukasi, we have Kyle Phillips, we have John Franklin Myers, right? And then he went out and brought Bryce Huff, Jabari Zuniga in. And then he goes in free agency and he brings in Carl Lawson and Vinnie Curry. Oh, and we have Nathan Shepard as well. So we have a very formidable interior with some young talent for the outside. And he goes and brings in Carl Lawson, who is a fucking nonstop motor, man. And he brings in Vinnie Curry, who is a rotational player and is effective in that role. He can come in, give you 15 plays, and be effective during those 15 plays. So it just looks to me like I'm really curious to see what he does with the linebackers and the edge position. And so for me, like I have the same value on cornerbacks as anybody. But for me, I would rather put if I have $3 that I got to fix it, I would rather take $2 and put it toward the edge, like the defensive line, and $1 toward the cornerbacks than the other way around. And it looks to me, that's what the Eagles did. And it looks to me like that's what Joe Douglas is doing here. You know what I mean? So that's how I see it. Oh, Mr. Terrible. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Mud Bowl, my first Jets memory too, at 6 years old. So I'm older than you, huh? How old was I? That was 1982. So I was 10. Yeah, I was 10 years old. Later, Cravat. I'm losing you guys by the droves now. We'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Go. Let's do 10 more minutes. We'll just kind of wrap up any of our conversations. Yeah, right, Amarillo. So Jason Peters was actually a tight end coming into the league. I didn't know that. That's incredible. But still, an undrafted free agent tight end ended up being one of the most dominant left tackles in football for years. Ryan Adams, Cold Roses. There he is. Thank you, Mr. Terrible. Ryan Adams, Nathan Shepard sucks. Yeah, I think Nathan Shepard is a very good guy to have as depth. You know, we've been using him as a starter. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. It's not, think about this. That was what Mike McCagnon gave to Sam Darnold. That was his next pick. A 3 years older than everybody in the draft class, defensive tackle from Tulane. It was a reach into a small school for a defensive tackle. It's the most incredible thing, you know? It's the most incredible thing. When you look at somebody, like, look, I could take anybody in here right now. I could just grab Red Dog, who's laughing for some reason. I could take Red Dog right now. I could sit down with Red Dog for an hour. And he and I could absolutely make a better team than Mike McCagnon and Idzik did. I have no doubt. That's funny. The guy, listen to this, guys. I just got a text from an old friend of mine, one of my best friends, been to many Jets games with him. He was at my last game at Giant Stadium with me ever. I flew up from Florida to go to one last game at Giant Stadium. We went together, and Mark Sanchez threw 5 interceptions against Buffalo. It was the worst. But he's the guy who told me, who introduced me to Ryan Adams. And the song that he played for me was Cold Roses. And he just texted me. So I guess he's here. Who are you in here, Bobby? He just said, Cold Roses, LOL. Yeah, you're the dude. So let me see. Maybe he's just not, he doesn't have a YouTube page or something like that, but I don't know. But that was cool. My buddy Bobby. I keep trying to get him on the show. He's like a Jets historian. And not really, but he is. He's like an encyclopedia of Jets lore. And I want to get him on. So anyway, it's nice to hear you, Bobby. I'm glad you're here. Sean O'Brien, Beans, would you trade both our first and a second next year for Pitts? No. You're fucking crazy, Sean. What are you doing? No. No is my answer. What? What the fuck is that? Wait. Donnie, I don't know what that is. All right. So, no, Sean. No. How many times did I say no? I can't say no. I'm not getting the feeling out. When I say the word no, it's not taking care of it. Yeah, I know, but you don't trade 2 for. I wouldn't even take him with the number 2 overall pick. I wouldn't even see like this. If my goal was the number 2 pick, I would do exactly what Miami did, but I'd get more value for it than Miami did. The Miami, to me, left a lot of value on the table, but they still did a good thing, ultimately, better than where they were. They squeezed a couple more drops out of the lemon. So if we were at 2, you don't take anybody but a quarterback or I don't know. If you had a quarterback and everything, you could take a wide receiver. But in our position right now, if you're at number 2, you don't take anybody but a quarterback. If you're going to take a non-quarterback, you trade back. You get to 5. You give the Cincinnati Bengals a sweet deal. You give Atlanta a sweet deal. You say, look, I know you're kind of comfortable where you are, but there's still a chance you don't get your guy. I'll move back 2 spots. You give me next year's first, or you give me a second and a fourth. You get more for it. So you get Pitts a second and a fourth for number 2, as opposed to just taking Pitts. You see what I'm saying? Like with our current situation, you cannot fucking Mike McCagnon this thing and take a defensive tackle, especially when you're running a 3-4. You can't take a defensive tackle with the number 3 overall pick. You can't do it. It's wrong. You can't do it. And if you were going to stay, there was an electric edge rusher there too. That is a need. We had Leonard Williams on our squad. You know what I mean? You already used a first and a third on fucking defensive tackles. You don't do that again. So that's my whole point with that stuff. Like me, I don't just sit at 2 and take a tight end. There's no way. Unless I had a great team. Like the Niners did a couple of years ago when they had the second overall pick. They took Joey Bosa because they knew, like, we have a very good team right now. They just had a bad year with a good team because Garoppolo went down and all the other things. So they just went down in. They grabbed a fucking premier pass rusher and they got out of there and they went to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, all right. Why are we still talking about taking Pitts even after the Darnold trade? Why not? Liam, it's a normal question. He wants to know if we'll trade 2 firsts and a second for Pitts. What's wrong with that? Come on. Your balls are too clean. That's what's going on over there. Look, Liam Riordan won the Manscaped package, so now he's all nice and high and tight. And he's got the little spray on there. He's all fucking primped, and he doesn't want, now he's above us. He doesn't want to talk to us. Why you like that? Okay, you guys, man. You guys. Justin Ross. Who's Justin Ross next year? Who is it? Who do you think is going to be Justin Ross? Who's the fast guy in this one? I know Carrie Vincent's super fast, right? There's a lot of fast guys, but who's like the fastest wide receiver in this draft, you know? I don't know who that is. Yes. You want to know why we don't have a veteran quarterback on the roster? It's going to piss everybody off, but are you ready for it? Because the truth is that we're going to trade with the Niners. We're going to get their number 3 pick. We're going to get Jimmy G and Fred Wagner, or whatever the fuck his name is. And like a second and some stuff. So they can take, what's his name? And then we'll take Justin Fields. We'll have Jimmy G and Justin Field, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's why. What do you think of that? No, that's not what I really think. But Fred Warner, thank you. Fucking Wagner. He's on Seattle, right? Wagner. I'm telling you, man. You know, when you talk about, it's like, especially now, like when you're talking about 500 players from college, it's like, I'm telling you, everybody's the same anymore. I don't know who's fast, who's slow, who's tall, short. I don't know. Schwartz, 426. There you go. I like that guy. Let's see. Dwayne Eskridge, 4.3s. Yeah, I feel like I might have heard Schwartz was fastest, but I think Carrie Vincent is the fastest. But don't forget, these aren't computer times. These are pro day times. Hands, click, click, click. It's bullshit. When you're talking about 100ths of a second, and you have a hand, it's not right. It's not accurate. It's not. It's not accurate. Right, Mikey Mouse. That's right. I always forget to remind you. It shows you where I don't think like that. But I appreciate you saying it. Give me a like if you can. If you haven't yet, I would appreciate it, man. I would appreciate it. It helps, you know. It helps the YouTube boss. He's like, look at this guy with all these people liking it. So Ben Keeley, my buddy. What's up, Ben? Green Bean, if Tevin Jenkins, Kwity Paye, and Newsome are on the board, are you still taking Tevin Jenkins? I am. But second would be Kwity Paye. I think I heard somebody say it's actually Kwity Paye. I've been saying it wrong. It's funny. I heard an announcer say that, but I hear them saying Kwity Paye all the time too. So thank you, Seawall, thank you, Amarello. But yeah, I think I would take Tevin Jenkins over Kwity Paye and Newsome. I don't love Newsome. I like him. You know, to me, it's like he's not the guy I'm targeting in the first round for me. I like him, but I like Horn better. I might even like Stokes better. You know what I mean? Look at this. Wow, what's going on with that? There we go. This is how I live. If you guys were ever able to find me and you just see me like hanging out by my RV, this is more likely what you're going to see. It's the truth. This is what you see, like some guy on his computer, you know? Yeah. Look at that. Blue light. Oh, I don't like that. All right. So Coach likes man covers. Yeah, I know. Well, no, there's zone here. This is a zone. There's a lot of zone in this defense. There's press, but it's like a hybrid kind of a thing. It's funny. I just watched the whole thing on like how his defenses work. It was interesting, man. I got to find that for you guys. And no, I'm not getting braids, dude. You're nuts. You're nuts. I know, right? Derek says Ted Kaczynski. Yeah, I know. I'm with it. I'm getting a haircut on Tuesday. It ain't going to be nothing crazy, though. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Fun history. What Jets era would make a great documentary movie? This Jets era, dude. This is the one. This is the one, man. This is the era. And not only because of what's coming, because it's coming, but what we just went through is fucking bananas. It's banana land, man. I know. Brian Javis nailed it. Pro day times are very sketch. They are. Of course they want. They're motivated, right? Now, I don't think anybody's being purposely dishonest, but they're motivated to just a little time, just a little 200ths of a second. So, all right, guys, let's see. One more. Chris Bazzuco. Chris Bucco. Jesus. The draft should have been tonight. Bastards extended this year and an extra week. You want to hear something funny, guys? I'll tell you now. I'll dip my wick into the personal side of things like we did last week, just for a moment. So 1 year ago, right now, because the draft was, I think it was right now, right? I forget whatever it was. I think it was actually like right now, like Bucco's saying. Last year, the first round, I was in my office at my house, and then the next morning I couldn't be a part of like the live streams and everything because I had to move. So I moved. I had a 3,400 square foot house, 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, the whole thing, and we moved into a 30-foot RV. And right now, like after, we moved and I got in this RV and I went to this campground that was about 20 minutes from my house. And we ended up being, and the world just shut down that week. Like it was like 2 weeks before, whatever it was. But it was like the world went nuts. And we went to this campground and there was like no one there. And it was like scary and fucking weird. Like, I don't know, man. I thought I made a bad decision and all this kinds of stuff. And so anyway, I happen to be at that campground. It's 1 year ago right now. And I happen to be staying at that campground right now. And it's 1 year. I didn't plan it. Like I went all the way to fucking Seattle, man. I've been through, Kansas, Seattle, Arizona, Texas, I went all over the place. And we bopped everywhere and did all this thing. And then I ended up coming back and I'm here 1 year ago. Like I was talking about the draft last year. And now I'm talking about the draft this year. And it's like, it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre. So anyway, I thought I'd share that. I'm having like a moment, you know what I mean? I had short hair. It's crazy. I had a whole different world. I was a different person 1 year ago. Right now, I didn't know anything. And now I'm like this guy who has live streams and everything, So, all right. Hey, one more. David Michelson. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. What Jets era would make the great documentary movie? All right. So I think, thank you. Was that you who just asked it before, though? Was that you? I'll answer it. So I think it's this era. That's what I believe. I think another interesting era would be the Rex Ryan. Like going from, Parcells would be another interesting one, wouldn't it? Like going from Rich Kotite. Well, think about, you have the Bruce Coslett. He's here for 3 years. We fire Bruce Coslett and just elevate Pete Carroll to his first head coaching gig. And we keep the whole staff except Bruce Coslett. And then we fire Pete Carroll after that year and hire Rich Kotite. You know what I mean? And then we fucking win 4 games in 2 years. And then we get Bill Parcells. And that, even though Bill mismanaged so much stuff, that changed us. Those years were good. We were 9-7 the next year, 12-4 the year after that. And then we went all through Adam. Al Groh was 9-7. Then all the Herm years were essentially good until the very, very end. So that changed everything. I thought I couldn't imagine ever being this bad again. I said that to my son. I said, well, you don't have to worry about it. We've already been to the bottom. Like, we're never going to be that again. And here we are. We're worse. It's crazy, man. Yeah. I know. If the Sack Exchange would have won a Super Bowl, it's a good point, Verge Tibbs. If they would have if that team would have won that Super Bowl, like if we would have made it through the Mud Bowl, we would have trounced in the Super Bowl. The only thing that slowed us down was the mud. That's all it was. And you got to hand it to them. They knew. That would have been the most legendary defense of all time if they won a Super Bowl. And that's the thing. Same thing with Rex's teams. Rex Ryan would be a fucking living legend. But he's not. Instead, he's a goof. Failed Jets, failed Buffalo, tattoos, feet, the whole thing. He's got a tattoo of his wife in his starting quarterback's jersey. Like, dude, it's wacky. And I wouldn't make it bigger than it is, but it's wacky. You gotta have better you gotta have the ability to see further than that. You got to have the ability to understand the optics of moves that you're going to make, and Rex doesn't. He'd be a good documentary. The whole fucking Rex Ryan thing. What a crazy, crazy time. Feet. I know, dude. Liam, it's the truth. But that was all Shula. Shula did that. He said, hey, don't cover that field. Don't you cover that field. We're going to have some home field advantage tomorrow. And that's what they did. We had the team, man. We had the team then. We had the team in 86, too. We were going to kick some ass in 80. Well, we would have gotten to the Super Bowl, and the Giants would have beaten our faces in. But we had the best team in the AFC. Fuck Denver. So, all right, guys, look. He was the most fun, Eric. That I agree with. But I'm going to bounce. It is about 11 o'clock. I did 2 hours anyway. So thanks for hanging out, man. I'm sorry I was late again. At least I knew I was going to be late, and I was able to tell you. Hopefully nobody's schedules got messed up or anything. That would not be what I want. Yeah, Shula's revenge for Super Bowl III. That's right, Eric. That's the truth. So, but thank you, guys. I'm going to be making a video right after this. I'll release it probably tomorrow, and then I'm going to try to make a video every day for either my channel or Jet Nation. Please don't forget to sub. It's the most important thing. Please like the vids, especially this one. But subbing is the big one. And if you guys there's 157 of you in here. If all of you went over to my other channel, my full-time coaster tour, that would be so appreciated. It would be so. Hey, Alex Cotter, I see you, buddy. What's up, man? If you could go in there to just go right over right now when we're done, go to Full-Time Coaster Tour and hit the sub button, that would be killer. I got good vids over there too, and I'm almost done editing another one for the world's smoothest roller coaster that I found. I found it. I know where it is, and I was on it. It's unbelievable. So no, it's okay, David Mickelson. Don't you worry, buddy. I appreciate you doing it that way. So I sincerely, I'm grateful. So thank you. Thank you, guys. What's a sub bell? Yeah, but let's go over to Full-Time Coaster Tour if you get the chance. Hit that sub button for me. It would be greatly appreciated. That channel, I'm really trying to build it up, man. But if not, if you don't feel like it, you're like, hey, asshole, screw you. You're a Jets guy, and that's all I want from you. That's fine, too. But if you want to be a pal. All right, guys, listen, you're the best. I appreciate you being here. You have a great night, and I will see you. I'll see you real soon. I'm sure about it. I'm sure of it. Have a good night. I love Jets fans. You name one other organization that deals with the shit that we deal with and is still this passionate. Sure, you got the little segments, the dog pound. But look at the Patriots fans. They just had 20 years of there are kids, there are 20, 21-year-old, 25-year-old people in this world that are Patriots fans who have never known losing. Never in their entire lifetime. They were born into this Belichick-Brady thing, and they have consistently won. They've won 6 Super Bowls. They've been to 9 or whatever it is. And then when they didn't get in there, they were the AFC Championship game or the semifinals or whatever. And what happens the year that Tom Brady leaves? Dude, you have droves of people leaving the Patriots. These are diehard Pats fans. This is what they have. Diehard Pats fans going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. Why? Because I'm a fucking fan of Tom Brady. Bullshit. What is that? This is when the Colts had Peyton Manning waiting there because he didn't come out the year before because Parcells, our brilliant head coach, decided not to tell Archie Manning he couldn't guarantee that he would take his kid first. It's just the stupidest thing. You know, history could have been totally different for us, Jets fans. But it's not. And it sucks because Parcells is one of the greatest coaches we've ever had, if not the greatest. So how can you complain? You can't. I hate that prison cell. I hate it. I want to yell. I want to bitch about it. But I can't because Parcells was good. Traded back. Got James Farrier and Dedrick Ward out of that one. That's what I think. These are bold predictions because we don't have anything to go on, right? We have bologna. We have a bunch of bologna sandwiches, and we're taking one and saying, one of these is prosciutto and fresh mozzarella and roasted peppers. But they all look like bologna. So we just got to guess. You know, we have to guess. Oh, this is the one. If it's not, well, I guess we eat bologna.